I know if I sent something like that to my wife, I would.
But your wife is your wife. She married Dan Bernstein. This guy texting from the 219.
That's officially her problem alone.
Right.
Wrigleyville Bob says, let's hook up tonight. Halftime of the Bulls game. I'll bring the wine. Bring Jason too if you can. And the 312 says
that's the most foul, vile text I've read in a long time.
That was a sext from Jerry DiNardo to Terry. John downtown, you're on the score.
I get those anyway.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Good, Jack.
I think that there's something that hasn't been mentioned much. Wasn't the reason why they went back before the judge because Jerry Sandusky was filmed by his neighbors staring at kids?
Yeah, standing out of the porch.
Well, but he wanted the hearing was because he wanted to have permission to see his grandchildren and to go seek out defense witnesses and interview them.
Right, but his neighbors are actually filming him staring at kids.
Correct.
Mm-hmm. So that's why it's starting to make me think that let's put it this way: the more Jerry Sandusky's out there, the more he's going to creep out people. Mm-hmm. And also, there's the factor that maybe Penn State fans start to turn on him because he's the one that got Joe Paterno fired. And Dan, too, don't forget, whenever it comes to jury selection, you have the peremptory challenges, but you also have unlimited challenges for cause.
Okay.
So if prosecutors can show during voir dire that you've got some rabid Penn State fan who can't be fair, who won't listen to the evidence and render a verdict based upon the evidence, he can get challenged for cause.
But you will get somebody in there that's able to hide that until they get in the jury room.
Sure, but then you get a hung jury and you just got to start all over again. I mean, just because the jury gets hung,
right.
Then you start over.
No, I hope you're right.
But you could get another one on that one, too. I know what you're saying, though.
But the thing is, but if you look at it, if his own neighbors are turning him in now, the longer he is out there, the more I'm starting to think that maybe the Penn State community will turn against him.
I don't know. I hope you're right.
Well, maybe they can unite in something other than the stupid. Maybe they could unite in some cause that's worthwhile other than protecting the legacy of Joe Paterno and your football team. Maybe you could start with that and maybe if you build around this and say, yeah, this guy brought it out. Maybe you're right. Maybe they could find another cause for all this anger and this nonsense that they keep spewing. Mm-hmm. Maybe they could.
I don't bet on it, though.
That one I won't bet on. I will take my bet, though.
There are actually some Sandusky neighbors. There's a picture that was tweeted by Sarah Ganem of the Patriot News in Harrisburg, who I believe her editors have nominated her work for a Pulitzer Prize, which would just be an incredible story. Mm-hmm. But there are Sandusky neighbors who they've put up the sign in their yard for the group RAINN, RAINN, to help victims of sexual abuse. So that's a good sign. Those are people we probably have to round up before the napalming. John is calling from his car. He's on the score.
Hey gentlemen, how you doing?
We're good.
Good.
Hey guys, I'm going to try not to be emotional about this. It's just really bothering me with this Sandusky situation. It's killing me that this is another situation that's being fought from the outside in. I am a member of a special operations group, and in our training we're taught that you break the enemy from the inside out. You fight to the point that enemy no longer wants to fight and puts down their arms. The NCAA, I feel, should have stepped in immediately and shut it all down. And that anybody who could should be able to target these players who are supporting Joe Paterno and guarding his legacy, or whatever it is you want to call it. It just kills me that it wasn't done this way, that we're having to fight it from the outside in.
Well, I wouldn't say NCAA, John. I would say federal authorities. That was somebody with actual power and not just paper tiger power that you have because of the transportation of victims from state to state. Where are the black helicopters? Where are the feds? That's what I'm thinking. That really, why haven't everything been seized federally? Why not the FBI? And I know they generally will defer to the local government first, the local law enforcement first, but I understand your point. My belief, my hope was that it was going to be the windowless SUVs.
You know, it's a great point, though, about the fact of these former players who've been, look, the rest of these idiots remain, basically, we can just brand them as the people of Pennsylvania. But these idiots have attached their name to it. Mm-hmm. They put it out there for all of you to digest, every one of them. Almost 600 names. They've put it out there for you.
They're proud of it.
They are. They are.
It's the
I'm not going to waste as much time being angry at all the people in the state of Pennsylvania. I dropped them. I'd napalm them, but I wouldn't waste as much time and try to get the others out. But to me, the ones who have the names that people would recognize and know are on the wrong side of this argument. And to me, not one of them publicly has ever changed and said, yeah.
The only ones were the trustees.
Not Todd Blackledge.
Stephanie Devaney and Kenneth Frazier.
Not Franco Harris. Not Lydell Mitchell.
All you need is that one singular quote from trustee Kenneth Frazier. That's it. That's all you needed, what he told the New York Times. And that should be carved in stone and posted on the campus. So everybody can look at it, and maybe over time that sinks in.
Well, I would put it right by the statue because that seems to be still a pretty busy spot on that campus.
When we come back from a brief timeout, I want to revisit a long-held opinion that I had and come around to admitting I was wrong.
Wow.
Okay?
Wow.
And we've sort of...
What did you just say?
Yeah.
Listen to this, Jay. Hear this?
I want to look at a long-held opinion and come around and I might have been right at the time.
You're wrong now.
But eventually, I became wrong. We'll do that after a break on The Score.
Standing. And we're going to create a moment of radio history here on Boers Bernstein, Chicago Sports Radio 670 The Score. Something you've changed your mind about. I think I know what it is.
I think
I know what it is.
And I realized, we got the news last night. But,
it is. I am right. Okay.
I liked him coming out of college, and I thought he'd be a really good player.
Yep.
But, man, I thought Luol Deng was overpaid for being a small forward that couldn't really dribble, couldn't really jump, not real athletic, and never hit threes. You know what? Luol Deng still isn't a real good dribbler. He doesn't really jump. He's a hell of a basketball player, man. And
he is.
Correctamundo. So I'll qualify it by saying I think I was right about that Luol Deng.
But wrong about this one.
But I never thought he would be this efficient a player on both ends of the floor. I just didn't see it. I didn't see especially the three-point shooting. He's become a guy that you expect it's going to go in when it leaves his hand. And it used to be if he wasn't in the corner taking just the corner three.
Yeah, no chance.
There were a lot of long twos, but for a guy, and his dribbling has gotten better. It's
corner clutch three. I trust him more than I do Kyle.
Yeah, Kyle's having a good year though.
I understand, but I'm talking about corner clutch three.
Yeah, but Kyle's a bum slayer. Yeah, I want to see
put a
Kyle
hand in Kyle's face. I'm not going to say.
Yeah, exactly right.
I know it's going in.
No, Kyle gets rid of it faster.
I still remember the Atlanta series.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, try not to. But Luol Deng is and now his contract looks.
Kyle's a better shooter.
His contract looks okay. You can say that. Look, you've got a coach selected All-Star. This isn't some stupid fan vote All-Star. This is a guy who earned it, and Luol Deng is a valuable pro.
No, I liked him better than you did, if you recall. I've said it all the time. I didn't like him to this level where I think he's at now, but it's certainly taken a while. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's an odd sort of rise because it just doesn't generally happen that way. Really, I mean, but he has improved every phase of his game, and look. I know I forget this idiot's name that's making this case by some numbers or whatever. No, when you looked at it, I looked at it very carefully yesterday because Jay and I were talking about it, and there was no doubt that he was going to be an all-star. Mm-hmm. He deserves it. Mm-hmm. It's not like there's a lot of guys there that you'd say, oh, well, I'm not sure. Yeah, I think you can be sure.
Because you can't name four better small forwards right now.
Right.
Correct. I cannot do that.
You can go Anthony, you can go James. Maybe if you want to play around and go Granger some nights, but Luol Deng consistently is a better player than those guys.
I don't trust Granger. I like his game. He's a flake on the court.
Yeah,
that's why Paul George is rising the way he's rising.
He's rising. But yeah, there's no case to be made. We talked about off the air. There's no case to be made for any of these guys. Not have a Luol, not ahead of him. Not ahead of him. Maybe step behind him, 2 steps behind him, but certainly not ahead of him. No, it's a wise choice.
And he deserves it.
He's become a really good perimeter defender. Mm-hmm. And he's better than I ever thought he was going to be. So I was wrong about what he was going to project to be.
I'm still, you know what? I still reserve a judgment on Greg Oden. I'm still holding off on that.
You can go ahead.
Oh, we were asking this question too, and we were reading the starting lineup for your Charlotte Bobcats.
I don't want to do that again.
Remember when Jason, when I first heard him use the word bumslayer, he coined it to describe Tyrus Thomas because he had these huge nights against bad. So that's when I first heard Jason call him bumslayer. Now, once you become a bum and you slay thyself, I mean, I don't think Tyson Chandler's a bum slayer anymore.
Tyrus Thomas.
Tyrus Thomas. I don't think you can be.
No, he's not
both.
a bum slayer on a 3-22 team.
Brendan called him the peer slayer.
Yeah, he's
slaying his peers of bums.
But like at that point, you're just a bum.
Yeah, you're a bum.
He's dropped below bum slayer now.
I'm standing by the caller who said he saw a lot of James Worthy in him. I'm standing by that guy. That's where I want to be on this argument.
And that was the great description too of. I don't know if you heard this from somebody, Jay, or if you made it up. Where that Tyrus Thomas is the guy who grew up playing outside while wearing jeans and no shirt.
I think I might have said that.
I think you said that.
I regret saying that.
Why?
Because it's just not nice.
But the image of like that southern...
I'll never forget the first time I played ball in Atlanta.
The languid southern players.
It was dudes running up and down in jeans and no shirts. And I'm like, what's going on out here? You guys don't need shorts and shoes?
Those are the guys who ran with us at Central Campus in college.
To give away Deng or to give away Thomas, I don't know if there's such thing as guys that you can't touch, but to me it's like, don't touch those 2 guys.
Tyrus Thomas is untouchable?
You know what? He's got talent there. I mean, I don't know why I think of James Worthy, but it's almost like something a little bit more than a potential there, than like a James Worthy.
Unless you're thinking of him sexually. Then you can think of James Worthy. That's fine.
Terry always gives him like a stat line from a championship game.
38 points and 1 rebound.
Got like 35.
That's what he does.
38-1, I believe.
That's what he does. He's a big game James.
I know you were making fun of him, but it's really true that how many like rural Southern guys have become great NBA players. Karl Malone.
There's been a few. There's been some. There's some guys from the South that
Charles Barkley.
Yeah, Barkley. Yeah.
But how many guys? How many like country guys? Know what I mean?
Country guys.
Guys that sound like that, and guys with a thick drawl. Have become great NBA players.
How many?
Who weren't forged in the urban crucible.
Let me tell you something. You want to know the most overrated thing in sports, and maybe it's stopped finally now. New York City point guards. Enough of that.
Why?
Crap old law. Because that's what it is.
Well, these New York City point guards are...
Well, that's what it is. Forged in steel. They're tough. They know the game. They battle their entire life, and here they are.
You don't like a god, sham god?
You don't like Rafer Alston?
Yeah. And what?
I'm trying to think of the great New York City point guards and the great Southern players all at the same time.
Yeah.
Well, Rod Strickland, Mark Jackson, right?
Yeah, definitely. But I'm talking about right now.
New York City point guards right now?
Slim Pickens.
No, he wasn't a New York City point guard. Jim on the South Side, you're on the score. What's up, Jim?
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Good.
Hey, listen, I hate to switch gears on you from the pedophile to basketball. Let's talk about Tebow for a second.
Talk about what?
Tim Tebow?
What about him?
Okay. I've listened to, let me just say this. Since he was at Florida and Denver, I've been one of his biggest fans, and I've listened to everybody rip him, and he can't do this. And I was always my point being is I always like the underdog, the guy that you can't do this, and yet again he wins.
He's
games.
not an underdog. The guy's one of the best college players of all time.
No, I understand college play. I'm talking about pro. He can't run a pro offense. He can't throw the deep ball.
He can't.
I understand it. Here's my deal. The other day, I watched an interview with him. Now I've never seen him interviewed at a full length or anything like that. Within 5 minutes, I found myself wanting to reach through the TV and grab this guy by the throat.
Why?
I don't know why. That's what blows my mind. I have no idea why. But he's opening his mouth. I'm listening to this, and right then and there, not only did I jump off the bandwagon, I set the damn thing on fire. And I know you guys have been bashing for a long time, and I hate to say this, but I agree with you now. And it's just like that.
You know what? I love that it's so irrational.
Is it because he's
it's irrational, but yeah, it kind of makes some sense in my twisted mind.
Is it because he's a simpleton, or what he was saying, or?
I kind of agree with it. Maybe the simpleton thing would go a little bit there. Yeah, maybe the golly gee shucks that he was putting on, but like I said, I've never seen him interviewed at any length, and within 5 minutes he turned my stomach. So I'm with you guys now. I'm off the bandwagon.
All right. Well, welcome
funny.
Aboard, my friend.
I like the fact that there's no good reason for changing his mind other than it just felt
Everyone's
like it.
texting Scottie Pippen.
Yeah.
That's pretty
That's
country.
a good one. That's pretty country. He might be the best of all of them.
Of all time?
And Karl Malone?
Yeah. Well, Carl's from where? Was he from the swamp?
Louisiana. Swamp.
Yeah, but I don't know exactly where. It could be from New Orleans.
What New Orleans?
Yeah, I don't think it was as big city as New Orleans.
Well, I thought he was going to say he wanted to reach through the screen and kiss him.
No, and Shaq doesn't count because Shaq's an Army brat. That's different.
Yeah, he lived everywhere.
Yeah.
Summerfield, Louisiana for Karl Malone.
Summerfield, Louisiana.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He
is Alligators gross over.
He's a total Bama too, because didn't he have a bass pond in his house?
Yeah. He had a big backyard with a lake and a semi truck.
No, but I believe I swear to God, I believe he had like a channel running inside his house.
He did. That's correct.
Bass in it.
That's correct.
That's awesome.
That's correct. And don't forget the big rigs.
Yeah, the big rig. But he can sit there on his couch and fish. Jason just gave me a look.
That's true.
Scoreboard update.
From the Chicago Wolves Update Studio, I'm Wayne Randazzo. Have you been to a Wolves game this season? Visit ChicagoWolves.com for tickets. A tight back could keep Derrick Rose out tonight. Right now, he's a game-time decision, but Tom Thibodeau thinks he's ready to play.
He says he feels pretty good, so he just got to each day, do his rehab, take care of himself, get his rest, get his massage, and we go from there.
Bulls and the Bobcats tonight. Bulls a league best 22-6 record. 2 All-Stars now.
I need to hear that cut again, if you don't mind, because I believe Tom Thibodeau said something about Jewish rehab.
He says he feels pretty good, so he just got to each day, do his rehab, take care of himself, get his rest, get his massage.
Do his rehab,
and we go from there.
I was doing Jewish rehab. I wonder what that entails.
I'm enrolling, if so.
You are?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm in too.
We'll work on it.
I'm in.
Okay. It's do his rehab. Got it.
Mm-hmm. Do his rehab. Deng is in his first All-Star game.
Yes.
He and Rose teammates in the All-Star game for the first time since Jordan and Pippen.
Congrats, Randazzo, by the way.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Thanks. Back
One
to
foot
it.
out the door.
All right. Blackhawks skating in San Jose, a 6-game losing streak. 8 in a row lost on the road.
Wants no part of your dumb ass, does he? He just wants nothing. He doesn't want all the kudos.
Screw around. He just got a big gig. He's
That's what I'm saying.
Kane County Cougars broadcaster.
I'm staying here. I'm
so
still
long, suckers.
So you would have had to go back to Alabama?
Perhaps. Yeah, that was the plan. But
it's a bad plan.
Yeah, I think this is a better plan.
Oh, it's a much better plan.
The whole not going to Alabama plan?
Yeah, this is a much better plan. I'm very happy about it.
I miss doing baseball games.
I miss Alabama.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do.
No, you don't.
I miss Alabama.
Yeah, Jason actually was named Miss
I
Alabama.
was Miss Alabama, yeah.
In an odd, controversial
Who'll ever
decision.
forget my lunch with Bear?
Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Alabama,
Yep.
Jason George Goff.
How you doing?
Hey, how are you? Wait, something has to be wrong here. And he's Herb Pope.
Herb Pope.
Yeah, Jason's doppelganger.
Oh, very nice. Corey Crawford's in net tonight for the Blackhawks as they're in San Jose. Baseball, the White Sox signed former USC and Arkansas quarterback Mitch Mustain, a minor league deal for him. He'll pitch in the Sox system. Day 2 at Pebble Beach, Dustin Johnson now in the lead at 11 under. Tiger Woods 5 strokes back. This scoreboard update brought to you by stcharlestoyota.net. Qualified buyers get 0% APR financing on 9 new Toyota models, exceeding expectations at St. Charles Toyota. Nissan.net. The newest addition to the Nissan commercial vehicles lineup will be unveiled Wednesday at McCormick Place. Don't miss it. I'm Wayne Randazzo, and you're listening to The Score, celebrating 20 years as the original and #1 Chicago sports station.
Call 1-800-GIVE-PJs.
Oh, my favorite. This is Chicago Sports Radio, 670 The Score and 670thescore.com. Chicago sports station. You know, it is Valentine's Day. That number is going to come in handy.
This hour is brought to you by Napa Auto Parts. No more, do more.
Call 1-800-GIVE-PJs.
I'm with them on that.
We'll be
Overnight
celebrating
Christmas delivery sure guaranteed. Visit thejamagram.com or call 1-800-GIVE-PJs and tell them The Score sent you.
We're going to be celebrating Valentine's Day at 4 o'clock today, as only we can. It's a new version of something we've done before, but we want to hear all of your Valentine's misadventures. Some that have already been sent in via email. You can feel free to do that, Boers and Bernstein at 670thescore.com. But we also want to hear your stories, your tales. Bad Valentine's Day memories. Love hurts.
Come meet the Scores and Maxfield between 12 and noon.
That's a very short appearance, though.
Or a really long one.
Oh boy, I miss George so much. Physically, too. You know, now we've if we've gotten to any of the Penn State people today, because we've already got a Tebow convert. That's a pretty good day already by 2:30.
Yeah,
you get yourself a Tebow convert, and if you can get through some of the thick skulls of the Penn State idiots, you've had yourself a day, I'd say. I don't know that we have. You got to keep trying.
No, that's a pathology. That's different. You don't get through that, because if you do, what happens with the Penn State cretins is they essentially have to realize my life is worthless. You know, they have to come to that realization that all of the worship, all of what they've intertwined in their own existence with Penn State football, because they cease to exist. Some important aspect of them ceases to exist when they acknowledge that Joe Paterno was a bad person. I think you can do it.
No, I think you can. I think you can get through. I do. You got through to a Tebow guy. That's a cult.
No,
that's a cult.
Different things, though. No. Different level. I really believe that.
I don't. That's a cult. That's a cult of angry white people gathered together to worship. Wait a minute. No, wait a minute.
See, now that Terry says that, it makes me think. Did you hear from any or see any black Tebow believers?
No.
I'm not even joking.
No.
Like when you saw the Tebow criers and the people who like did the whole Tebow chanting thing.
The holy
did you see
rolling
any
and
brown
all that?
faces in there?
No, because they probably find him creepy.
Or the media people that were all over Tim Tebow?
No. I think the only one that I saw was Eric Beverly.
Ebev did not do that.
Gay. Probably gay.
You know, Jay,
you know me, always bringing race into it, but
yeah, well, that's what.
There you go again, flat brim. No, he's not. He's not representative of it. It's a purely white thing.
It's a purely white thing.
It isn't.
It is.
No, it isn't.
Why is it? Wait a minute.
I don't think
now.
black
Why
people
is that?
hate him.
Yeah, I don't think they hate him.
I just don't think they're going to bother because he's not worth their time. He had better causes than that. And I think the brothers.
I think some of the brothers like him. Like I like him. I think he's all right.
I also think brothers are better at identifying bad football.
No, they're not.
Yeah, I think so.
No, they're not.
That's some of the calls we've had. They're not. No, they're not. It's all about the same.
Lovey's still your head coach.
Yep. I don't. I know. None that ever called. I don't think we've ever had one brother called and said he loves Tim Tebow.
You know what? I have a friend but I think he's doing it just to go against everybody else. My buddy Jeff, he likes Tim Tebow.
But I mean, you did the biggest audience, the TV.
Yeah, they had to be watching too, right?
Yeah, they did. Absolutely. I mean, you don't do 54 million or whatever that number was with that's a 54 million white people.
Well, that's like this new Jeremy Lin thing. Everybody is going crazy over this.
He's got
next
two rap
point
songs in New York City already.
He's recorded two, or
no.
He's doing rap songs and playing.
Jeremy Lin, big God guy too.
Yes, he is.
Huge God guy.
But that whole thing of being Chinese and Harvard educated, He's American, but he's of Chinese descent.
Yes.
But
I think that's the novelty. That you haven't seen a Chinese little guy. You've seen Yao Ming.
Wex is Chinese, actually.
Jesse Rogers is too.
Yep.
Right. But you've seen Yao Ming and guys like that and Wang Zhizhi.
Not Chinese.
And,
Menk Batir.
Right.
Yi Jinlin.
You haven't seen a backcourt player.
But don't forget
do
the
that.
Japanese guy Yuta Tabuse.
I mean, let's not front. Let's not act like part of Steve Nash's novelty, along with being a great player, was that he was a white guy doing this.
No question.
You know?
That's why he was back-to-back MVP.
Like,
Best one.
I don't know if that's why he
it was why.
Oh, it had a huge.
Yeah,
it had a lot to do with it.
It
Sure
was
did.
why. No doubt about it.
He had 2 great seasons.
Second best foreign player in NBA history?
Who's the best?
Dirk?
Come on. Hakeem had quite the career.
I'm voting for Bob Pettit.
Yeah, Akeem had how many MVPs? 2?
2.
Same number as Nash?
And he had 2 championships.
And 2 championships.
In the non-Jordan year championships. Yeah, Akeem, pretty good.
We never
And
had
actually,
the Nash shake.
Does Duncan count because he's from the islands?
And Herbie says Dominique is in there too.
French?
Yep.
But
And
he's
Ben
both.
Gordon.
Dual citizenship.
Ewing.
Ben Gordon.
Ewing is from Jamaica, right? And that's true. I forgot about Ewing.
Carlos Boozer.
But Nash has put together. I mean, you start looking at his career numbers. You know, that's pretty crazy. He's speaking to Canada.
Yeah, but he's still that second MVP. No. The answer is no.
Because that's elite.
No,
That guy won
no,
2
no.
MVPs.
Back to
Steve
back.
Nash.
No.
Twice.
Not just 2, back to back.
Back-to-back MVPs.
No.
He's one of the best shooters the game's ever seen, though. You don't like it, Terry?
I don't know. You know, it's not that I don't like him. It's just that it was frustrating to me why he got the second one. It was just frustrating. It really was. He didn't deserve it, and yet he won it. And I'm not saying he's not a great player. Yeah, he has been. There's no question about the numbers he has been. But I would take Hakeem.
So where's Dirk?
Right behind him.
Okay. And then
Not too close, though.
And then Omer.
4th, I have him.
4th, okay, good.
Behind
Glad.
Bob Pettit.
Boers and Bernstein with you. Friday Funk at 4 o'clock on the Score. 0708-504-470. 906. Next year, 503, 439, 933. The next year, 507, 426, 938. I mean, that's astonishing. You know, Reggie Miller never did it at all. And I'm looking at Larry Bird's numbers here, and there's a couple in here of 525, 400 on the nose, and 910. There's 86, 87, 87, 88, 527, 414, 916.
You're talking about all-time shooters.
Yep. Dirk's got a couple, I believe. But those are those 3 numbers. How good a shooter are you?
There's only been 6 players in the last 25 years to do it.
Oh, wow. 6 players in the last 25 years. So we know we already figured out we've got Nash, Bird, and Dirk. I'm wondering if there's any that were like spot players, like bench guys. Like did Kerr do it or something?
Well, there's got to be. Doesn't there have to be like a limiting factor to this thing? You can't encompass those who don't play as many minutes, can you? You know what I mean?
Are they all starters, Jay? Are they all heavy minute guys?
Well, looking at this
Did
this
Ray
article,
Allen ever do it?
It's from the fantasyfix.com. And it says Reggie Miller's in there. But we looked up Reggie, and he didn't have one in 90. Well, it says 93, so I'll look again.
Okay.
But this says Larry Bird, 86, 87 did it. Mark Price in 88
Mark
did it.
Price.
Reggie Miller did it in 93. Steve Nash did it in 05, 07, 08. Dirk Nowitzki did it in 08.
Should have gotten Mark Price. I'm mad at myself. Boy, could he split pick and roll, too. Just go right through it. Everybody knew he was going to do it. He would just jump right
Yeah,
through.
he's a terrific. Yeah, he was.
In Lakeview, it's Joe on the Score.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. First off, I'd like to say, Hood, you're my favorite radio personality. I enjoy listening to your Bulls coverage.
Who?
You guys on the Score there.
Okay, and who's Bulls coverage?
All of you gentlemen.
Okay.
He said Hood.
My phone must have...
I don't know what you think he said. It sounded good to me. Go ahead, my friend.
It's Jason Goff.
Anyway, you guys do great NBA coverage, Bulls coverage. I love it all. Nobody ever gives enough attention to NBA, I feel. Anyway, my question is, this whole New York thing with the Jeremy Lin, that they got this craziness going on over. Everybody loves him. Now, is it more due to the fact that he's actually that good of a player and he just didn't really get a chance, or is it the fact that the Knicks really were lacking in the point guard to begin with, and pretty much anyone they would have thrown out there who was worth not Mike Bibby or these hurt, who they got, Baron Davis, who's hurt. They actually have a somewhat youthful point guard who wants to play. And my thing is, I got an argument with a coworker today about this thing. I told him wait till he matches up against one of the top point guards in
Hey, your phone's breaking up on us. It's a little bit of both, I think. I think he was the right guy at the right time in the right system, who is aggressive enough.
Right city.
Yeah, but very aggressive, and he seems to be playing free and easy and confidently.
And against bums.
That's part of it. But he's
a decent player.
He's good. I don't think he's a starting point guard on a championship team, but I've been wrong about that before.
And they've been dying for a point guard.
Right, and I mean, he was in the right city to create a stir. Even on a team that's been kind of not good, you're in the right place to create an NBA stir. It's exactly that's one of the places you'd create it.
It's a question from Amir, and it's a good one. He says, one thing I will never understand.
That Omer.
No, Amir, our NBA buddy.
He should be questioning your lack of loyalty and faith.
He says, how has there never been an NBA player of Indian descent? I mean, there are 2 billion people, either Indian or of Indian descent. That's a third of the world's population. The probabilities would tell you that by sheer dumb luck, there should have been at least one randomly tall, coordinated Indian. Actually, that's my hockey newsletter. So that they could make an NBA roster.
Don't step on his head.
He said, I don't need a superstar. Can't we just get one brown guy at the end of an NBA roster?
Well, there's brown guys.
No, he's saying brown guy as opposed to black guy.
No.
Oh, okay.
Let me answer him in a word. No.
Has there ever been anyone of Indian descent? There was a guy from... Oh, who was there? There was a guy in the CBA who was from... Might have been Pakistani.
Nepal.
Well, the Grizzlies have... But he's not.
Ian
Ahmed
Mahimbi?
Haddadi?
No, he's Iraqi, isn't he? I thought he was an Arab.
Yes.
I don't think there's ever been any, but you're right. But just by overall numbers,
he's from Iran.
Oh, he's Iranian. Okay. Yeah, I can't name one.
Why is that, Dr. Bernstein?
I don't know, because my Indian friend in high school was a terrific basketball player. Great up and under move.
Yeah, but he was dominating Deerfield.
Yeah, that's true, but 6 feet tall.
Jesse Rogers still the fastest man to come out of Deerfield.
That's all you need. When you're
dominating Deerfield.
You're 6 feet tall, you got a couple moves. You got to be where you get caught in the Ranji blender, and then you're screwed. That's actually, when Chris Ranji was hired, I thought he was Indian because I thought it was Ranji, like my friend. I said, "Oh, they had an Indian guy," and then
you met him and heard him, and you just knew he was
I said,
a
"Wait
jerk.
a second, you're not Indian." No, Box, I'm not.
Wow.
There is a guy so now I'm getting a YouTube video here. Satnam Singh Bhamara.
You made that guy up.
Wow.
No, I'm not holding out hope. As soon as there's a YouTube video of some guy running around, he's 7 feet tall. And he's hideously ugly. Oh, my God.
I would think if that had ever happened, we would have known it.
Yeah, this guy's got acromegaly. That's why he's 7 feet tall. He looks like Pavel Podkolzin. Remember that guy?
Ooh.
Remember old Pavel Podkolzin?
Bad case of gigantism.
That's what it was. He had gigantism. He had... Yeah, this guy's got it, too. There's no
heart
question.
the size of an apple.
No, it's like the size of a beach ball. Isn't that part of the problem?
Yeah.
He had a heart the size of a beach ball and a brain the size of a pencil eraser.
And no, Mahmoud Abdul Rauf wasn't Indian.
No!
People are texting all the Muslim names that they know.
Was it Chris Jackson?
Eduardo Nahara was not Indian.
No, nor is he. At no time was he Indian.
I'm just telling you that everyone who's
Nahara
ever heard a Muslim name associated with basketball
I know a funny name.
or an Arabic name.
No, Allah Abdul Nabi was Egyptian.
From the motherland.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's what Coach K used to
No,
scream
Rick
at him in
Fox
practice.
is not Indian.
I don't think so. No, and
good-looking.
He just
man,
got that good hair.
And of course, somebody had to text in Dan Lange.
No, he's just bad.
Right.
We need to, for all the people that Terry wants to talk to, we need to talk to Dan Lange.
We do.
Maybe we need to blow in a call to Dan so Terry and Dan Lange can
we can
find
talk, we
that
can
happy,
visit.
Bad basketball
That's
meeting.
exactly right.
Yep, that if you have to find Chris Mim for me.
No, I don't want to find him. I think Dan Lange would be fascinating.
Nobody can find him, though.
Why?
Huge meth dealer.
It says is an American professional basketball player.
In Deerfield.
With an up and under move.
In 2010, Dan Lange signed with Libertad de Sunchales in the Argentine Liga Nacional de Basket.
He's probably lived an awesome life.
I bet he has.
Well, that's why we should call him.
How are we going to find him?
He's in Argentina.
They have phones.
Yeah, they don't
have
phones in
phones
Argentina?
No, Sharif Abdur-Rahim isn't Indian either.
No, he isn't. Hell of a ball player before his knees went, though.
Yep, really.
His knees went in like 2-3 years.
Brandon Roy.
He had the
Brandon
same
Roy
thing that Derek always complains of in high school. He had the same thing in high school, and his knees went quick.
Another guy I love, Brandon Roy. Already done.
Yep. That's because you liked him.
I did like him.
Sort of like Marty Turco.
No,
wait a minute. That's a different kind of like. I didn't scout Marty Turco. I just took him in because he seemed like a man in need of a friend.
And then he was stacking the pads, and then he was packing his bags.
And then we weren't friends anymore. He hasn't called the day since then.
He was constantly bathed in the glow of a red light.
This from the 630. Wasn't there someone on the Grizzlies when they were in Vancouver, small forward? No, Tariq Abdul-Wahad is not Indian.
No.
That's actually Olivier St. John.
Actually,
he went
from Michigan, right?
He was there for a little bit, and then he transferred, I believe.
I think Big Country Reeves was Indian.
Yes, he was.
He?
So one brother to go from French softness to Muslim toughness right there.
Boers and Bernstein, an hour away from Friday Fung. Love Hurts, celebrating Valentine's Day on the Score.
Hey, it's McNeil. Right now, you've got Boers and Bernstein, but remember to start your day with Mully and Hanley kicking things off at 5 o'clock, followed by Spiegel and me at 9, where you can always count on us to cover the hottest stories in Chicago sports. That's McNeil and Spiegel, middays 9 to 1 on Sports Radio 670 The Score and 670thescore.com. Chicago's sports station.
Chicago's sports station.
This hour brought to you by Sport Clips Haircuts. Visit sportclips.com, the location near you.
Boers and Bernstein.
What tournament?
Chicago Sports Radio 670.
I love Detroit. I do love Detroit. At 304 Chicago Sports Radio 670, The Score. Boers and Bernstein, welcome in. We talked about a variety of things today. Jerry Sandusky, Luol Deng, you finally come forward. You finally stepped into the bright glare of the spotlight and said what needed to be said.
I didn't think that he would sort of mellow into this contract the way he has.
He has, too, though. Yeah,
to be worth every dollar for a really good team. A really important guy on a really good team. Played through pain after his toughness was questioned. He's gotten better at basketball.
He has, and it's just one of those weird things that you wouldn't. I mean, I don't know, but he has certainly done that. All-star, we believe deserving. You'll see hear other opinions and say, well, no, the numbers, well, they do stack up. And you take a close look at the conference and take a look at your reserves, they absolutely 100% do stack up.
We're trying to find an Indian basketball player, and this guy, Satnam Singh Bahmara, is only 15, according to Alex here. He says, I heard about him a year ago. It intrigued me, being Indian, so I started a Google alert on his name. He's been attending camps in Florida. He's being bred to become an NBA talent. The NBA wants to have a satellite league overseas with Eurobasket, the Chinese Basketball Association. They're pretty serious about starting a league called NBA India when Bahmara is in college. Okay, 7'1", 15 years old.
Yeah, when I see a 15-year-old that's already 7 foot, immediately I worry about his feet.
Mm-hmm.
Immediately.
You figure you're clumping around LA.
Growing. Yeah. I mean, he's still growing.
And Glenn wants to know, wait a minute, wasn't Dave Corzine Indian? Tyler in Bloomington, you're on the
That's how much
Score.
I had to drink.
Hi, Tyler.
Hey, guys, I was listening earlier, and I heard your comment, or Jason's comment, on
there's no real black supporters or people in the black community supporting Tim Tebow. And I thought maybe that was a case that had to deal with watching like guys like Cordell Stewart and stuff go through all the scrutiny they went through, and Tim Tebow basically not having to go through that. You know, everyone said, well, Cordell Stewart will make a good wide receiver, or, you know, maybe he'll play running back, or, you know, and I know Tim Tebow had some questions about, maybe, you know, fullback or tight end.
Still
he
does.
never really had to face that. Yeah, but he never really had to face the same scrutiny, and I don't know if it's totally a race issue, but I could see where it could be seen as that, you know.
Oh, but Tim Tebow's been killed, though.
Yeah, I mean, I would say he's been killed. I mean, no one. And Cordell Stewart actually had to be forced to play that position, you know, when he got the nickname Slash and stuff, and they never really tried him as like a position player. They immediately thrust him into this role, and I think that like his religion and status as a pop culture symbol maybe sort of kept the real scrutiny from hitting him. Maybe I don't know.
I understand what you're saying. That usually, if it's a brother in his position, they immediately say, "Oh, he's a defensive back. Oh, he's a linebacker. Just move. He's a tight end." I said that. I've not stopped saying that. That I don't think he's a quarterback. He could be one of these situational trick wildcat quarterback guys you use here and there, but you could find a position for him where he'd be a more effective player.
So you don't believe the offseason accuracy camp will help him at all?
No.
Okay.
No. I think we would kind of know.
That it would help, or that we'd have been more accurate by now?
We already went through that.
Okay.
He did it before the draft, remember?
Yeah, I know.
He was working with Sam Weish. Remember that whole thing? Well, I'm fine now. I changed everything and everything's fine. No, you didn't.
No, you didn't. Yeah, you know what? I think he got plenty of scrutiny because not everybody is buying it. And for whatever reason, he's been elevated to this. And I can't say it's all race. I don't exactly, I'm still not sure why, other than the fact you have people who actually believe this stuff. That's the scary part of it. That's the scary part.
Well, I use the term scary differently as soon as when we start talking about the earlier stuff with Sandusky and all.
No, I mean, I think when you hear 44% of the people say that there was divine intervention at hand in Tim Tebow, that's scary.
I agree.
That's scary. Come on. I mean, Jerry Sandusky's in a monster category. He's way past scary.
Well,
scary, he's left in the rearview mirror. You know, it's gone. He's way beyond that.
I can't believe some of the stuff that comes out of his mouth. When he said, I'm sensitive to that. I'm sensitive to that. My house is open to thousands of children, and now it can't be.
Keep saying it!
Yeah.
He won't
now
back
all of a sudden, these people turn on me when they've been in my home with their kids, when they've attended birthday parties, when they've been on that deck, when their kids have been playing in my yard, and when their kids have been sled riding when they've asked to sled ride in our home. It's difficult for me to understand, to be honest.
They turned on you?
They turned on him. I don't know who turned on him. I think he's talking more about his neighbors because he's probably aware of that. I think his neighbors turned on him, but I don't think the state has. I think his neighbors have.
Well, your neighbors probably should, because if you got good parents that live on each side of you and they come over because you're having a barbecue and you're the coach and you're hanging out and then they find out that you've done this, it's probably time to turn their back on the molester.
But it's more than that, though, because he genuinely feels that he's helped these boys, even his victims. He doesn't feel he's victimized them.
And I think he's sincere about it.
I think the ones he thinks he's helped that he hasn't molested are grouped into that molested group as well.
It's beyond that. He believes that he's simply been showing love and affection and devotion to the victims.
But you understand what I'm saying? How
those are the ones that have turned on. The ones that are testifying against him are the ones that have turned on.
But I'm sure there's ones that he didn't molest that he feels like. But he feels like that he showed them love. So whatever he's doing on this side, it can't be misconstrued as different love. It's the same love.
But more specifically, I believe that he feels that the victims testifying against him are turning on him.
Right.
Because he was simply helping them in his mind.
Well, when I had a wife who came home after visiting with grandchildren, or who's sitting there when grandchildren call on my birthday and they ask to talk to me, and she has to tell them that they can't. I'm sensitive to that. But when she comes home from visiting with grandchildren and tells me that one of them said that the only thing I want for my birthday is to be able to see Pop, I'm sensitive to that. And that's why I came today.
God, I hope they weren't talking about me.
Wow.
I think we're gonna have to change that Pops thing. We're gonna have to find something else for the grandkids for him.
That's sort of like the Ravens broadcaster Jerry Sandusky.
Right.
You don't have it quite as bad.
I don't know. I don't have it that bad, but it's bad enough.
Joe in Chicago Heights, you're on the score.
What's going on, fellas? Hey, I applaud Luol Deng, and I would love to have him for like $8-9 million. But to me, there's no way he's worth 11 and 13.3 next year. If you look up on Google salary efficiency, they take basically the PER and measure it against.
I don't buy that stuff.
But he measured 20. He was 24.
I'm telling you, all that PER and stuff for basketball. This isn't baseball.
Well,
I don't buy that stuff.
The other part of it is the intangibles and the defense, and you know what? I hear it all the time. This guy isn't some miraculous Bruce Bowen defender or Scottie Pippen type of guy. So all this stuff that he does, this and that,
he's a very, very. I'm not talking about intangibles. I'm talking about being a very good defensive player.
He's a more skilled version of Jerome Kersey, and he's never going to be a number 2. And you're paying him number 2
Kersey.
Yeah.
Wow.
Did you ever see Jerome Kersey play?
Oh,
He's probably looking at similarity scores.
Absolutely.
See, this is the problem with numbers, Dan.
In terms of impact, absolutely. Impact. I mean, maybe not exactly.
What does he do similarly to Jerome Kersey?
I mean, just his total impact. You look.
No. I'm asking you.
I'm telling you, he's looking at similarity scores.
I'm asking you as a scout.
I'm not saying stylistically he's but in terms of his statistical impact.
So you're just looking at a sheet of paper.
He's right on.
So you're just looking at a sheet of paper is what you're doing.
What I mean,
did you ever see Jerome Kersey play?
Absolutely.
Really? What team did he play for?
The Portland Trail Blazers.
Okay. And
he played for a front court of a 4, 5, and 3 guys that are going to do exactly what these guys are going to do. A whole lot of nothing in the conference finals and the finals.
I would forget all of your similarity scores and your PER when it comes to basketball. Basketball's a team game.
Here's the thing: the average guy you talked about, Luol Deng. Who am I trusting? John Hollinger or that?
I don't really know what you're talking about. I'm telling you,
John Hollinger's the guy, the anti-Luol.
It's not baseball.
Those are his numbers.
It's not baseball. You can't use metrics to try to.
There are some good ones though. There are some I believe it's equal weighted, equal wins average and true point percentage and pure point rating. There's some good ones.
There are some good ones. I'm very.
I don't like PER.
I'm very
dubious.
Because
PER every year tells you that Chris Paul is one of the top 3 or 4 players in the game.
Right. I'm very dubious of using those when you don't have.
Like Niger Morgan once was in baseball.
Defined individual situations and punctuated.
Or Ben
moments.
Zobrist.
Ben Zobrist, right? Also one of the 2 or one of the 5 best players in the game. I don't know what game that would be. Darts, maybe.
Yeah, people are coming around to Ben Zobrist, by the way.
Well, you could come around to him.
He
ain't one of the 10 best players. He ain't one of the 15 best players. He ain't one of the 20. You could come around to him.
He kind of is.
If you want. He kind of isn't.
Yeah.
No, he's not.
Defense matters, and versatility matters. Somebody who can play that number of positions that well defensively.
Yeah, see, you those numbers are good. These numbers are bad.
It's baseball.
But no, you also do this when you look at similarity, like when you did Barry Larkin.
Right.
Well, you read those guys that were similar. Look, Barry Larkin's I know it to be true. I've watched him. A much better player than those guys he's most similar to. So what good are those numbers? Are those numbers no good, or are they accurate?
I think baseball numbers have an important role to play.
No, I don't think that one does.
I am dubious of basketball numbers.
No, well, some of them, as Jay points out, in basketball, okay, but I think some of them in baseball are okay too. But I don't think when you look at similarity and you start listing him with some of these dopes he was listed with, that's not true. You could say, oh yeah, we'll see what he's most similar to. A lot of that baseball most similar to is nonsense.
Well, it's not.
You just sort of see him play or you didn't see him play. You either know it or you don't know.
Right, but all they're saying is these are the guys who have similar statistics. That's all it is.
And what does it mean then?
It means
why is it there?
It means whatever you want it to mean. So you're talking about Barry Larkin, his statistical similarities. Which ones didn't you?
Almost any of them.
Alan Trammell.
Yeah.
Edgar Renteria.
He's a better player than Trammell. He's a better player than Renteria.
Ryan Sandberg. Lou Whitaker, Roberto Alomar, Pee Wee Reese. I mean, there's
better than Pee Wee Reese.
There's 4 Hall of Famers here,
right?
So Joe Cronin.
That's a little too far back.
He wasn't better than Roberto, though.
No, he wasn't.
Roberto was one of the best ever.
Right.
Tony Fernandez. Correct. I don't think there's anything insulting about these names that are listed.
Yeah, the Ben Zobrist Niger Morgan year was tough. It was tough to stomach.
But that's because it was For Niger Morgan, it was 1 year. Zobrist has sustained it.
But see, that 1 year, even looking back
he's
on
playing
it's tough
second
to say
base.
after you watch an entire baseball season that those two guys were the top 5 or 6 players.
Well, because it's, again, he's Zobrist.
Value.
Zobrist is the reason why his number was skewed, just sort of like Chase Utley's number, was because of his position.
I understand.
When he played second, it is relative to position. That's why when you you look at first baseman, and every first baseman has got an 800 OPS. You know, it means more relative to his position. That's all.
Yeah, well, you can have that.
This stuff. Stop attacking. Baseball's a team sport also. No, it's not.
No.
Baseball is not. Baseball is an individual sport masquerading as a team sport. Basketball is a team sport. Football is the ultimate team sport.
Yeah, I just think there's some of those that, when I look at that, and I watch a lot of Ben Zobrist, believe me. It's not that good. I don't care what it's not that good. It's really not.
That's why people don't like the defensive metrics because of positioning and who's playing in front of you and the pitcher and all those things that have to go into effect.
Yeah, that will actually that'll get better when field effects.
The new stuff,
yeah, but they don't give us any of that data. They've got all the cameras in the parks, and they're actually measuring how quickly guys get to balls now, and we don't get to see it.
Get a baseball job, jerk.
I don't want a baseball job. Work with those. I can sit on Jim Hendry's barrel all day. Wicker Park Mac says Spiegel already discredited the PER system. He listed 10 players rated higher than Deng who aren't even comparable talent-wise. Half the Nets team is rated higher than Deng.
Yeah, PER is to me just something that someone threw together and was like, this is the official stat.
He's standing by it, though, Hollinger, though, right? He's standing by 100%.
And he's always in Chris Paul's camp. And every single year, Chris Paul is like in the top 3 or 4.
Yeah, he's not, though.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he's not.
But they're decent metrics out there, though.
Just like because you could put a guy at second base and you have this 800, he's one of the best. No, he's not. Ben Zobrist is not one of the best 5 players in baseball, and he's still not.
I don't think it's measuring necessarily the best players in
baseball.
Well,
I want to know where we'd be listed if you just did a number on the best players.
But what they're
where
saying,
would he be listed?
The reason why Zobrist has a very high wins above replacement number specifically, nobody's saying that he's better than Prince Fielder, but the actual definition of wins above replacement means at that position. If you had a replacement level player instead of him at that position, how much worse your team would be. It's not saying that he's necessarily a better player than Albert Pujols.
Well, he's listed as such.
Like you mentioned with the first base stuff, that kind of devalues the first baseman. Who
I mean, it completely does. And then you look at this thing and you see the top.
It does, like Ryan Howard and guys like that. Because it's not, it's very easy to find a pretty good first baseman who can slug. That's not that hard.
Laughing to the bank on this one. That guy makes a lot. Ooh.
Ode, dude. Real ode.
Ooh. How old is he now?
Didn't he come up when he was 26?
Yeah, he was a late bloomer.
32?
By the way, PER is player efficiency rating. People are asking.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not accurate.
Yeah, there's
a metric that's out that I saw that I also talked to Ron Adams about. Mm-hmm. It's about the amount of touches per possession.
That's
and finding
interesting.
The importance, like the most important player in certain situations, like late games where you think a certain guy, like you think, just for instance, like LeBron is the most important player in terms of possessions and touches in a possession for the Miami Heat. But then you find out it's Chris Bosh because he touches the ball more. And
right, but how many touches is he getting because of attention paid to LeBron?
Exactly.
See, those numbers simply don't measure.
But it also shows who's not getting the ball and who you can help off of as well. Like guys, when you circle a really good big man with 4 shooters, you don't have to stick all 4 of those shooters because you're seeing the percentages of the guy who's going to get the least amount of touches, even though he's a great shooter. JJ Redick is out there a lot because he's a decoy. Mm-hmm. How many 25, 30-point nights is JJ Redick putting up? You think you're doubling down off of anybody, he's going to get the ball.
But he's there to not be doubled off.
Exactly.
That's why you have him. He's a guy who you can't leave.
That's why Corver is in there a lot. And people
let me ask you a question. If you put that together,
getting the ball.
Right, that's not measurable.
If you looked at him, if you looked at the body of his work and continue, if you really studied the Orlando Magic, and I don't know why you would really want to study the Orlando Magic, do you think they feel good or bad that they took him? I think he was the 11th player taken in the draft. Do they feel good? Do they feel bad?
I got to look at that draft again.
And then they paid him again, too.
They did pay him
got
again.
Himself in
the
shape.
Offer sheet, right?
He got himself in shape. The first couple of years, he was just happy to be an NBA player and living like it.
Mm-hmm.
And then he got himself in shape. The most liniment guy in the NBA.
Really?
Oh, my God.
Oh, Flexall?
Oh.
Does he just walk around
bus.
smelling like wintergreen?
I love Flexall. I love that stuff.
That's just that NBA smell.
I love that smell.
Ugh.
God, I put it all
But
over.
I'm like, you're 17. Like, why are you doing all this?
I remember talking to Alonzo Mourning before a game. He had so much fun. My eyes were watering. It was like...
Drive off defenders.
No, honestly, I was like, God, how much Flexall do you
wait,
have?
hold on a second. The real story is Alonzo Mourning was talking to you?
Everybody did.
What stage of his career was he at?
They were all talking to everybody.
Well, Terry, people didn't talk to you because you called them names and you looked at them like you hated them.
No,
you can't hide the hate look very often, Terry.
The NBA pregame locker room is a great place. I don't know if
not
it's
early in his career. It wasn't.
It's not what it used to be because now all of the
limited access.
Well, it's not just the access. They've taken the dry erase board, the whiteboard, and now it's all electronic, so they can just turn it off. It used to be the coaches there.
You know, read what? Yeah,
you probably had an actual chalkboard in there.
Oh, yeah, I had chalkboard.
Yeah, but see, they had the whiteboard, and then
I had the whiteboard too. Though I saw both,
as the assistant coach is writing it in, you can kind of talk to him and say, "Oh, they scored consecutive baskets on that in the third last night." Right? I was like, "Yeah, we got to shut this down." You know how coaches are. While he's drawing
what they do is they keep the game plan film running for guys who are still milling around the locker room and guys who are watching it, so you know exactly what they're looking at from the other team.
Mm-hmm.
They chop up like 3 or 4 games against them and their previous 4 or 5, and it's all spliced together of what they'll be running. So you go out there and you pretty much see everything that the other team is running before they step on the court.
And you know who the vets are. Like you can just tell the vets that are sitting there drinking coffee and going through their mail, and then you've got the rooks with the headphones on singing too loud, and they don't realize they're singing out loud. Everyone's looking like, "Hey, shut up."
I don't think those, whatever was being written on that whiteboard, whether it was Paul Westhead or Kevin Lockery for those early Bulls teams I covered, it didn't matter. It absolutely didn't matter. I guarantee you half the room wasn't paying attention. Whatever he was, that's not what happened. That's not what happened, what was on that board.
He would write things that they just would read other things.
Yeah, that really.
I love it. There's always the reminder.
That didn't matter.
Say something like, "Don't forget, Brandon Jennings is left-handed."
Right. I mean, they didn't.
Because you watch some of these teams and you realize why you got to write that stuff.
I do. I know.
Like they actually have to remind the guy's a damn lefty. Don't forget.
I understand that.
Kukoc got people for years, and by the third quarter, like, oh yeah,
Kukoc is a left-handed player. Okay,
smelly dude.
Smelly dude.
He's a smelly dude.
Boers and Bernstein on the score.
Hey, Boers and Bernstein fans. For the latest news, blogs, show downloads, and more, log on to BoersandBernstein.com. That's BoersandBernstein.com. BoersandBernstein.com is presented by Bob Rohrman Schomburg.
Call 888 Go Purple for tickets today.
With Boers and Bernstein, we've got the second half coming up in mere moments. We've got an update, and then we've got things we have to get to, things that were mentioned yesterday that we can follow up on in the very same spot. So we'll do that.
That's right. Okay.
Scoreboard update.
From the Chicago Wolves Update Studio, I'm Wayne Randazzo. Watch the Wolves on the road tonight as part of the Illinois Lottery Cup at 7 on CN 100 with Xfinity. Bulls and Bobcats tonight in Charlotte. Derrick Rose, a game-time decision because of his back spasms. He is likely to play. Yesterday, Luol Deng named an Eastern Conference All-Star for the first time in his career. Blackhawks are in San Jose tonight. A 6-game losing streak up for grabs. Bill Quenneville states the obvious.
We give up a lot of ground here recently, and we still got some big games coming up and some tough games. So it's we got to find a way to win a game now.
Hawks have dropped 8 straight on the road. They'll have Steve Montador on IR now. Dylan Olsen gets recalled from Rockford. Also, Nicholas Hjalmarsson out tonight and headed back to Chicago with an upper body injury. Corey Crawford will get the start in net. Baseball, the White Sox bring in a former quarterback, Mitch Mustaine, who was quarterback at USC and Arkansas. He gets a minor league deal to be a pitcher. Day 2 at the Pebble Beach Pro-Am, Dustin Johnson and Charlie Wee tied for the lead at 11 under. Tiger Woods remains 5 strokes back. Patriots tight end Rob Gronkowski clearly hobbled in the Super Bowl, had ankle surgery today. His recovery expected to be about 10 weeks, while Jerry Sandusky requested greater freedom of movement and be allowed to visit his grandchildren. His trial set for May 14th. This scoreboard update brought to you by stcharlestoyota.net. Qualified buyers get 0% APR financing on 9 new Toyota models, exceeding expectations at stcharlestoyota.net. Jameson Irish Whiskey is the #1 Irish whiskey in the world. In 2010, nearly 200,000 fans around the country stood up and voted. Jameson, the official drink of St. Patrick's Day. I'm Wayne Randazzo, and you're listening to The Score, celebrating 20 years as the original and #1 Chicago sports station. This is Chicago Sports Radio, 670 The Score, and 670thescore.com, Chicago's sports station.
Anheuser-Busch.
It's snowy!
And now it's time to begin the second half.
Anheuser-Busch.
It's snowy good.
In the first half of the show, we played some of that tape from Jerry Sandusky.
Disturbing,
really
at best.
disturbing stuff at his little hearing today, and I don't know, just talked about dealing with the whole Penn State issue that doesn't seem to end. And Terry and I made a bet. I think that they'll be unable to find a jury to convict, that there will be one person that will simply want to make it not have happened. That no matter what, regardless of the evidence, regardless of anything else, will simply say, no, it didn't happen, therefore Paterno's back to life and everything's fine and the university's not shamed and everything's back to the way it was. And Terry thinks he will be convicted.
And I think you will also be placing a lobster bib on me, even though I'm not eating lobster.
I will, regardless of what you order, I will place a lobster bib on you. Praise for Luol Deng, and I have come clean and said I never thought that he would be this good. I didn't think he would get to this point.
I don't care what any numbers say. He deserves what he got.
He is a deserving all-star.
No question.
And we're also trying to find an Indian in the NBA.
Trying to find an Indian.
Not a Native American, an actual Indian to join the NBA. We think we may have a prospect.
I think it's Bob Pettit. Maybe I don't think that. All right, so yesterday's, just follow up on yesterday. I mentioned that how much I used to love Illinois-Indiana games back in the day when they were fun.
Yep.
Not so much fun anymore, my friend. Here's what's disturbing. And I realized the fouls were out of whack. Too much whack. But that you can expect a lot of that in the road game. And you're that kind of team. And again, if you're trying to make a case, this is what we've been trying to do for those of you maybe just first-time listeners or whatever you are. We've been talking about Bruce Weber in his situation in Illinois and looking at the big picture that is Illinois basketball. And trying to make a case with a new AD, with a very careful eye on Bruce and what's going on to look at this thing. It's not good to look at it and say Tom Crean and Indiana are now ahead of Illinois. That's not a case. And I mean, I don't know if they are. I'm not sure they are. I know that it took a while for Tom Crean to start to get some real players out there and make that team come back from the really, oh man, were they awful. Oh, but that Indiana team, it's been ranked most of the season, I believe, started out like a house of fire and is still playing pretty well. Beats Illinois last night. And we're trying to find signature wins for the Illini as the season rolls to the regular season conclusion, not finding any.
Northwestern.
Signature win.
Not just a win, that's an ass whipping there.
It's an ass whipping.
They even got their walk-ons in the game at the end.
Yes, they did.
You get a little walk-on time and a victory. That's a nice time and a big win for them. So we talked about it yesterday, and I just wanted to make note of that they
did it.
Had to have it, and they got it. And there are
5 and 6.
There's some projections that have them still right on that edge.
Right on that cusp, are they?
NCAA contention. So they got to. I think given the benefit of the doubt, I think the tournament wants them in. And
you think the tournament committee is just says it's time?
I think the committee wants them to give them every reason to put them in. So just stay close, cats.
All right, interesting baseball debate already developing, and I can't wait. I mean, even though spring training is sort of tedious at best, but interesting baseball debate about which of the two high-profile will actually be rookie pitchers this year, I believe, or at least guys that are coming up and players to know, players to get to know. Yu Darvish versus Matt Moore. Now, Matt Moore for those who didn't see him last year when he came up for the Rays, is a beast. He's a beast. He is really tough. I mean, if you didn't see him, and you saw some rookie things with him last year, some kid things with him last year, but he's got unbelievable stuff. But I really believe this, and I don't know why people are doing this. It's like you don't believe a word scouts say. You don't believe a word anybody involved with the game says. You're just going to go ahead with this program you have.
You Darvish is nasty.
That's what I'm telling you. It's like this program is existing that, oh, no, he's not a top-of-the-rotation starter. So now it's debating with just Matt Moore. I have this feeling before next season is over, or this season coming up, there'll be more that he won't be debating against Matt Moore anymore, who's terrific. But I think he'll be a little bit echelon above that when you talk about the best pitchers in the game.
I always pound them when I don't like their work, these writers of the newspaper, but I picked up the Tribune today, and I learned what the Hawks are going to do to make defensive adjustments.
I saw that, yeah.
It was a very well-written piece by Chris Cook, getting quotes from these guys describing about cycling the puck, keeping the puck low in the offensive zone, staying above it, making it tough for the other team to come out and get chances, as Patrick Sharp. And they describe how they're going to try to prevent some of these odd man rushes. Nick Leddy says we always like to have a third guy high, just in case one of us defensemen does pinch. You always have that safety valve. What Coach Q is talking about lately is depth on the defense and having layers. And that gets back to what we talked about last week. We got some analysis from our buddy Sam Fells, who said that there weren't those layers, that you had too much of a distance between the front and the back and long passes. And when they talk about cycling the puck, you actually possess it, and you're not just moving it from one line to another line up the ice. You're keeping it, as they say, cycling. You're moving it from stick to stick and guy to guy, and you're moving to open space. And that's what looked so good. That was the way of describing when they won the Stanley Cup. And it looked like they always had the puck, and the other team never did. That's how they did it.
We'll find out, won't we?
Yeah, problem is Nicholas Hjalmarsson is out.
Back home.
Yeah.
Back here.
Steve Montador, upper body injury, injured reserve. Nicholas Hjalmarsson, upper body injury, injured
back
reserve.
Yeah.
So now Dylan Olsen and Sammy Lepisto are going to be in your lineup.
Is that an uh-oh, you think?
Blackhawks blue liners tonight.
Uh-oh.
Well, it's not good.
Well, it's been almost this road trip anyway. I guess it can't be much worse. That's the second half. We always ask what you think. 312-644-6767. And I think that you're going to enjoy our very special Friday fun at the top of the hour, because we season it. We make it so that, we add a little something to it for the season, for the day, what's coming up. We only can do it like a handful of times a year.
Herbie's actually mad at the both of you.
Why?
Because you said that Illinois had no signature wins.
Michigan
State.
He'll
put out there Ohio State and Michigan
I
State.
said, no. I said, if you're looking for a signature win down right now, you need another one. Those aren't doing you any good. You lost to Northwestern. You lost to Indiana. Yeah, I understand that, so kiss my ass, you dumb bastards. Pay attention. 312-644-6767. Why don't you share it with us? Text it, come out and play. We always ask you what you think. There's your numbers. Club Sports Radio 670 Squad.